Welcome! I've been tagged again, this time by the one and only Frampton himself, Mr. Leroy Screwballs. Lee and I, along with numerous other small YouTubers, were recently tagged in that Small YouTubers Challenge, which was a lot of fun. And Leroy has decided to do something similar of his own. I think he's hoping for this to go viral. Good luck with that. This is going to be a lot of fun, as it's another kind of get to know you thing. This one is more Funko oriented, but there is other non-Funko related questions there. I will go through these, I think, 14 questions, and then choose my 3 people who I'm going to tag for this at the end of the video. Normally with these sort of question and answer things, I'll either print off the questions or read from a screenshot or something. I actually wrote these ones down because I thought it was a good exercise, because a lot of these questions were harder than I expected, and it gave me a chance to properly think about some of the answers. And there were some difficult questions here, but let's take them from 1 to 14. Thank you, Leroy, for this. Let's just kick it off with question 1 in the Leroy Screwballs Get to Know You tag. What is your most expensive Funko Pop? Technically, it's a tie between Hollywood Hulk Hogan, who I bought getting on for a year ago from eBay. I won an auction. And also, more recently, Buzz the Honey Nut Cheerios Bee. They were both £45. Now, even this, what sounds like a really simple question, is more difficult when you get down to it, because do you include things like postage and custom fees? If you do include postage and customs charges, then there is one more recently that went over £50, but I'm going to assume, for the sake of simplicity, that it's just referring to the price of the pop and not any postage or any other extra costs and charges. So, yeah, Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Buzz the Cheerios Bee. Although Buzz the Bee, if you do include postage, I believe he would then go up to £50. Question 2, what is your least expensive Funko Pop? Now, Lee said that things like giveaways and freebies, you know, gifts from friends and other channels, they're not included. I had to wrap my brains, really, but the one that really stood out to me, and I believe it will be my cheapest pretty much, will be when I got Ronda Rousey from Amazon for £3.83, and that was with Prime next day delivery earlier on this year. I did have some Amazon store credit though, so I don't know if that makes this answer wrong. I don't know. I have paid sort of around the £4-5 mark for other pops, usually on Amazon and eBay. eBay has been pretty good to me for cheaper pops. More often than not, the costs of postage are then getting lumped on. But for the sake of argument, I will say, because it just sticks in my mind as being a really good deal, and she was a fairly new release at the time, Ronda Rousey from WWE, £3.83, cannot be bad. Question 3, in 40 years' time, what will people be nostalgic for? I think in 40 years' time, people are going to be nostalgic for 8K televisions. I know they haven't really come out yet. They have come out in Japan, and they're just stupid money. But I think people will be nostalgic for televisions in general, not just 8K, because we'll probably get things downloaded directly into our brains by then. So there'll be no need for physical screens. I also think people are going to be nostalgic for Ken Barlow. Yeah. From Coronation Street, Ken Barlow, because with the best will in the world, William Roach, who plays Ken, who's played him for God continuously for 60 years, he's in his 80s now, well into his 80s. It's unlikely, although not impossible, that he could live another 40 years. I think he would have retired from Coronation Street well before then, and I think Ken Barlow really is a good metaphor for appreciating what you have now, because when it's gone for good. I think he's a great actor. I don't think he gets anywhere near the amount of credit for that, and he's just a British institution, really. And I'll certainly be sad on the day that he actually hangs up his boots or his cardigan on the street. And when he passes away, which is a bit morbid to talk about, you just know there's going to be a load of so-called fans crawling out the woodwork. Oh, rest in peace, Ken, you were part of my childhood. But if you ask them about him today, while he's still alive and working, they'll be like, oh no, he's boring, I don't care. I don't like that. You get automatically, as soon as someone famous dies, you get the sort of asinine clueless, unheartfelt tributes just because someone thinks it's appropriate to say rest in peace whenever someone famous dies. You should have appreciated them when they were here. And maybe William Roach / Ken Barlow is a bit of a weird example, but I'm going by personally. I've been a Coronation Street fan since I came out my mother's womb, really. Just kind of legacy characters on shows like that do mean a lot to me, and I try and appreciate them while we have them. Number 4. What sport would be the funniest to add a mandatory amount of alcohol to? Being that I've been teetotal now for 5 years, ideologically, really, I shouldn't approve of this question, but I don't actually mind people drinking. You know, I don't like people just getting blind drunk and acting the arsehole, but it doesn't bother me that people drink. You know, it's a funny question, this, from Lee. I'd say the London Marathon. Just give all the runners vodka shots or tequila or whatever, and that'd be fun. Especially those pricks who dress up in, like, big dinosaur outfits and big teddy bear outfits. They're idiots. Yeah. I mean, some of them must have had a little tipple beforehand just to dress up like... I know it's for charity before anyone gets started. Yeah, the London Marathon, otherwise it's just pretty boring, really. Just seeing all the really good runners finish it in 2 hours or whatever, and then you get all the funny people in funny costumes just arsing around, yeah. Question 5. How did you first discover Funko Pops? Really, I have to give the credit for this to my ex-girlfriend's daughter, Lauren. I was living in Wexford some years ago. I think she was just starting to collect them back then. And then I moved back here, but I went over to visit them a couple of years later, and she was really getting into collecting. In fact, I believe I actually bought her a couple of Funko Pops from Wexford's GameStop. And at the time, I was like, I didn't get it. I just thought they were a faddie. I didn't dislike them as such, but I just thought, you're not going to see these anywhere in a year or so. And that was, when was that visit? That was 2014, I think that was. And fast forward 5 years, and yeah, I'm collecting them myself. And if it is a fad, then it's a long-running one, but I don't care if it's a fad anyway. I collect things because I like stuff, not because it's cool or it's the in thing to do. And if the bottom falls out of the Funko Pop market, and I was only discussing this with a few of the chaps in the Patreon chat group the other day, in a way that would be good, because it'd mean there'd be some absolute bargains if the Funko market crashed. In other ways it'd be bad, obviously. It'd mean Funko would probably not be making many profits anymore and may have to scale down or even go out of business, but you know, in the short term, for collectors who like to pick up bargains, it would be good. Number 6, what is my favourite Funko Pop in my collection? I've got loads of ones that are right up there, but I think still, and it was an early pop, and I've already mentioned him already, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I just love that Funko Pop, I really do. It was only about the 3rd or 4th pop I ever bought. One that I think, essentially, according to market valuations, I actually underpaid for last year. Number 7, which is your least favourite Funko Pop in your collection? I didn't like this question because I like all my pops. There's some that are better than others, obviously, but I wouldn't buy a pop that I didn't like. So least favourite, yeah, I know it's still one that you want, but it's like the one you least want. I'm going to pick Claire Dunphy from Modern Family, not because I dislike the pop or dislike the character, because I don't. I wouldn't have bought her if I did. But as Funko Pops go, she's not the most interesting one aesthetically, and also it's one that the paint job on it is pretty lazy and slapdash, but you can't really tell unless you're close up. I was loath to pick one for this question because they've all earned their place in my pop collection. Number 8, what Funko Pop should they make in the future? This was a relatively easy question for me once I'd thought about it, because there is one TV show that I've been a fan of since I was a child. It's even older than me. It's a TV show that's over 50 years old now. It's The Prisoner, and I would love to see a number 6 Funko Pop. Number 6 was played in The Prisoner by Patrick McGoohan. It's up there along with things like The Office and Breaking Bad and Coronation Street as my all-time favourite shows. But that is the Funko Pop that I'd like. I'd like a whole Prisoner range, really, because there's been different people who played number 2. Just a number 6 would be awesome. Number 9, how many Funko Pops do you own? Well, according to the Funko app, and this does include Dobbs and vinyl 2-packs as well, so this is not exactly the most accurate of answers, but it's 132 as of me recording this video today on the 7th of September, but that's going to go up within days. Like I say, it includes non-pop figures, so whether other people who get tagged in this want to include things like Dorbs, 5-star, Hikari, vinyl 2-packs, that's up to you, but just for simplicity's sake, I just went by the number of all my Funko figures on the Funko app. Number 10, what is your favourite Funko Pop series or line? I was really struggling because there's just two that I love, and it was a toss-up between The Office, the US Office, and Breaking Bad, my two favourite American TV shows of all time. I've really got to pick one. It's kind of not doing it properly if I say, oh, I'm picking two for this answer. Much as I love my Breaking Bad pops, I think I've got to go with The Office, simply because that was just a collection that I was just wishing for on day one of me collecting Funko Pops. Number 11, what is your ultimate Grail Pop? Yeah, trust Leroy to ask a question about Grails. I think Leroy's ultimate Grail Pop is pretty much anything that he sees and that he likes. For me, I think it's still going to be any of the Rey Mysterios in the WWE line, simply because they all look great and they're all really expensive, just ones that I can't afford to get. I think there's three altogether, pretty rare. You don't see them come up very often, and when you do, the price is just skyrocketed. Even the one that's common, in inverted commas, I think the cheapest I've ever seen that's been £75, and I just couldn't warrant spending that at that point on a Funko Pop. But that's not to say I wouldn't do if I got a bit of a windfall or I was just able to make that kind of investment. Even the one that is the most common of the three, you're unlikely to see it for less than 3 figures unless you get really lucky. And even the out-of-box ones still go for a lot. Number 12, Dorbs, yay or nay? You know, I'm probably going to be in the minority here, but I'm going to say yay, I do like Dorbs. I don't love them. I don't think, oh, I've got to have as many Dorbs as possible. I've not got that many Dorbs. I've got 2 single Dorbs, both 11 from Stranger Things, and I've got a Add Icons Dorbs 4-pack of Captain Crunch and Friends. I understand why people aren't that bothered about them, because compared to Pops, they're not ultimately very interesting. The bodies are kind of all the same. Whereas at least with Pops, yeah, the heads are all similar, but, you know, you get different shaped and different features on bodies, whereas Dorbs kind of seem very uniform. But I do like Dorbs. I think as cheaper figures go, they're quite charming, really. I don't particularly look for Dorbs. I'm not averse to adding more to the collection at some point. I also want to make a point that I actually do legitimately really love the vinyl 2-packs, even though they haven't really caught on. They're sort of more cartoony than Pops, and they're just tons of fun, those. And they're good value as well, with you always getting 2 characters in the one set. But they don't really seem to have caught on. I would like to add some more of those to my collection. Number 13, name an interesting fact about yourself people may not know. I'm quite a private person. Not a secretive person, but just private. I'm not one for getting on social media and just documenting my life and all my thoughts. If I've got something to say on Facebook, for example, it'll be because I deem it important enough to share. It's not just going to be, just woke up, lol, you know. To get back to the point, a lot of, I suppose, interesting things have happened to me in my life. Actually, there was quite an important event last month that I'm not going to talk about now. I may discuss it in a separate video in the future. That is the sort of thing that I might have used as an example for this question. I'm going to leave that one for today at least. One thing I don't mind sharing is that I had a vasectomy when I was 30 years old. There you go. Isn't it typical, eh? Like anything that Leroy Screwballs has started, it's bound to get anatomical and genitalious. After a genitalious, is that even a word? But yeah, I had a vasectomy when I was 30 years old. I always joked to friends, like, oh, I was the youngest person in Chesterfield to ever get a vasectomy, which I probably wasn't. It is young to get one, obviously. I'm sure there was people younger than me, even in my relatively small town, who got the old snip. So yeah, there we are. That's an interesting fact about me. Sorry, ladies, that's why they call me Mr. Woolworths, because the shop is closed forever. Number 14, final question. From your collection, who would be the last Funko standing in a fight and why? My answer is probably Professor Radium Batman, because he's the only superhero in my collection. And he's probably got like special powers or his bat belt or what. You can tell I've not watched Batman or anything else superhero related in many years. That is a pop actually that I never got round to doing a proper video on, because it was one that I'd got originally for Patreon only giveaways, and the winners of the giveaway chose something else. And I just liked that Professor Radium glow-in-the-dark Batman so much, I added him to my collection. It's a really nice pop, actually. I've put a picture up, and perhaps I'll actually get it and show you in a video one of these days. Another cheap plug for Patreon, but that is the sort of thing that happens if you join my Patreon. I do buy interesting stickered exclusive Funko Pops just to give away to Patreons from time to time. So all you need to do is join from as little as $1 a month, and you can be a part of all that fun stuff. So that is it from me for this question and answer get to know you tag from Mr. Leroy Screwballs. Thank you again, Lee, for tagging me in this. Much appreciated, my friend. I've got to think of 3 people to tag. First person I'll pick, because we all want to know his answers if he can get through this video without breaking wind. It's going to be Jason Clow at Not Suitable for Mum. I will also tag Kyle, Project Pops, another great supporter of mine and a great friend. And to show that I'm an equal opportunities tagger, I think my third person to tag will be a loyal subscriber and patron of mine, and a fantastic friend to boot, Rach Kappa. Not Suitable for Mum, Project Pops and Rach Kappa. I've tagged you 3 in this. I will leave a link to Leroy Screwballs' original Get to Know You question and answer video, and I will also leave links to NSFM, Project Pops and Rach's channels all down in the description, where you will also see my usual discount codes and referral links. I'm going to go now because I've been talking for a long time and I need to finish this lovely cup of Java, as well as try to edit this video down into something that is vaguely tolerable to all of you awesome subscribers. I do hope that you join me again for my next Funko related video. Cheers everyone. See ya!